Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that you no longer need to worry about money ever again. Your bills are covered, your savings are growing, your investments are working for you, and you have the freedom to spend your time exactly the way you want. For many people, this feels like a dream that's out of reach, but the truth is that financial independence is not just for the wealthy or the lucky. It's a step-by-step process, a journey with clearly defined stages that anyone can follow with patience, discipline, and the right mindset. And in this video, we are going to walk through the 12 stages of financial independence, breaking down what they mean, how you can move through them, and ultimately, how you can reach true financial freedom and retire early. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with someone who you think needs to hear this message. Financial independence is not just a personal journey, it's something that can inspire those around you. And by supporting this content, you help spread knowledge that can change lives. Now, let's begin with stage 1 of the path to financial independence. The very first stage is financial dependency. This is where every one of us begins. It's the point in life when you are completely reliant on someone else for your basic needs, most often your parents or guardians when you're a child. At this stage, you don't earn your own income, you don't pay for your own shelter, food, or clothing, and you may not even be aware of the cost of living. For many people, dependency continues into early adulthood. Sometimes because of school, sometimes because of lack of opportunities, and sometimes because of lifestyle choices. But regardless of the reason, financial dependency is the starting line, and the goal is to move away from it as quickly as possible. The next stage is solvency, which means you can stand on your own 2 feet. Solvency is reached when your income is enough to cover your basic expenses. You are no longer relying on others to keep a roof over your head or food on your table. This stage is an important milestone because it represents the first step toward independence. However, it is also the most fragile stage, because solvency often leaves no room for savings or emergencies. If you lose your job, if you get sick, or if unexpected expenses come up, you risk sliding back into dependency. That's why the focus at this stage is to stabilize your income and build the habit of living within your means, even if you have very little to work with. From solvency, you move into the stage of stability. Financial stability occurs when you not only cover your expenses but also start creating a cushion. This is the point where you begin to pay off high-interest debt, set up an emergency fund, and develop consistency in your financial habits. Stability doesn't mean you are wealthy. It means you have built a foundation that keeps you from falling backward. For many people, reaching this stage requires learning how to budget, track spending, and resist lifestyle inflation, the tendency to spend more as you earn more. It's also the time when you start to realize that money is not just about survival, it's about choice and security. The fourth stage is debt freedom. At this stage, you've eliminated bad debts such as credit card balances, payday loans, or high-interest personal loans. You might still have a mortgage or student loans, but the key difference is that you're no longer chained to financial obligations that drain your income every month with high interest. Debt freedom is liberating because it allows you to direct your earnings toward building wealth instead of paying for past mistakes or consumption. Achieving this stage requires discipline, sacrifice, and in many cases, a shift in mindset about what's truly important versus what's just instant gratification. Once you are debt-free, you can move into the stage of security. Financial security is achieved when you have savings and investments that can cover your essential expenses for a meaningful period of time. Even if your income stops, this is where your emergency fund is fully built, and you've started investing consistently, creating a buffer between you and financial catastrophe. At this stage, you begin to notice that the anxiety about money starts to fade. You're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, and you know that you can withstand temporary setbacks without losing your footing. The sixth stage is independence, but not yet full financial independence. This stage can be called partial independence. It's the point where your investments, side income, or passive income streams can cover a portion of your living expenses, giving you more flexibility in how you use your time and energy. You may still need a job to cover the rest of your costs, but you no longer feel trapped by your employment. For example, someone who has rental income that pays for their housing has achieved partial independence, even if they still work for other expenses. This stage is empowering because it opens the door to choices. You can reduce work hours, take more risks, or pursue projects you love without being fully dependent on a paycheck. The seventh stage is freedom from necessity. At this point, your passive income and investments generate enough to cover all your basic living expenses. You could technically stop working and still survive. You have food, shelter, healthcare, and basic needs taken care of without needing to rely on active work. However, you may not yet be able to afford luxuries or maintain the lifestyle you truly desire. This stage is often described as lean financial independence, because while you are financially independent, it is a minimal form of independence. It gives you peace of mind, but it may not provide the lifestyle you ultimately dream about. The ninth stage is financial independence in its truest sense. This is where your investments and passive income fully cover the lifestyle you want to live, not just the basics. At this stage, work becomes optional. You may still choose to work, but it's no longer for survival, it's for passion, purpose, or personal fulfillment. This is the point where you have achieved what many people call retirement, though it doesn't necessarily mean you stop working altogether. Rather, it means you have the power to decide how, when, and if you want to work. The 10th stage is financial freedom. Financial freedom goes beyond independence because it represents the ability to do virtually anything you want with your money without concern. You can travel the world, pursue big dreams, or fund causes you care deeply about without worrying about running out of money. This stage requires substantial wealth and careful planning, but it also represents the ultimate reward for years of discipline and wise choices. At this point, money is no longer a source of stress. It's a tool that enables you to live life on your own terms at the highest level. The 11th stage is financial abundance. This is where your wealth is not just enough for yourself but also for future generations. You have more than you could possibly spend in your lifetime, and your focus shifts from personal enjoyment to legacy. You may invest in your children's future, create charitable foundations, or support large-scale projects that make a difference in the world. Abundance is about impact. It's about creating a ripple effect that goes beyond your own life and touches the lives of others. The 12th and final stage is financial enlightenment. This is not about numbers on a balance sheet but about your relationship with money itself. At this stage, you fully understand that money is a tool, not the ultimate goal. You no longer chase wealth for its own sake. Instead, you use it to live a life of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Financial enlightenment allows you to detach from fear and greed, to recognize that true wealth is measured not only in dollars but in time, freedom, health, and relationships. Reaching this stage means you have mastered not just your finances, but also your mindset. Now, moving through these 12 stages is not always linear. Some people move quickly through the early stages and spend years building toward comfort or independence. Others might bounce back and forth between stability and debt freedom as life throws challenges their way. The important thing to remember is that financial independence is a journey, not a destination. Each stage teaches valuable lessons that prepare you for the next, and each step forward brings you closer to a life where you are in control. The practical question, of course, is how do you move from one stage to the next? The answer lies in a combination of financial literacy, discipline, and intentional action. To progress from solvency to stability, you must track your spending and create a budget that works for you. To move from stability to debt freedom, you must prioritize paying off high-interest obligations, often using methods like the snowball or avalanche strategy. To achieve security, you must build an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months of expenses and start investing in low-cost, diversified assets. To move toward independence and beyond, you must increase your income, reduce expenses, and continuously reinvest in assets that generate passive cash flow. Equally important is avoiding common pitfalls that trap people in the early stages forever. Lifestyle inflation is one of the biggest dangers. When people earn more, they often spend more, preventing them from ever building wealth. Another pitfall is high-interest debt, which erodes financial progress and keeps people stuck in dependency or solvency. Lack of financial education is also a barrier. Many people simply don't know the principles of saving, investing, and compounding. That's why it's so important to seek knowledge, to surround yourself with mentors, books, and content that guide you toward better decisions. One of the most powerful forces in this journey is time. Compounding is often called the eighth wonder of the world because it allows small, consistent investments to grow into substantial wealth over decades. The earlier you start investing, the easier it is to reach financial independence. For example, someone who invests just a few $100s a month in their 20s can build more wealth than someone who invests twice as much starting in their 40s, simply because of the time value of money. That's why one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to start now, wherever you are. Another critical factor is mindset. Many people believe financial independence is impossible for them, but that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The truth is that millions of ordinary people, with average incomes, have reached financial independence through discipline and persistence. They didn't win the lottery or inherit millions, they simply made smart choices consistently over time. If you can shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, from consumer to investor, and from short-term gratification to long-term growth, you will find that financial independence is not only possible but inevitable. Throughout this journey, it's also important to recognize that financial independence is not just about retiring early, it's about living a life that aligns with your values. For some people, that might mean retiring at 40 to travel the world. For others, it might mean continuing to work but in a field they are passionate about, without worrying about the paycheck. For others still, it might mean having the freedom to spend more time with family, to pursue creative projects, or to contribute to their communities. The definition of financial independence is deeply personal, and that's why understanding the 12 stages is so powerful. It allows you to see where you are, where you want to go, and what it will take to get there. By now, you can probably identify which stage you're currently in. Maybe you're just starting out, trying to achieve solvency. Maybe you've reached stability but are still struggling with debt. Or maybe you're already at the stage of comfort and are now aiming for full independence. Wherever you are, the key is to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and remember that every stage brings you closer to the life you want. If you want to retire early, the key is accelerating your progress through these stages. That means increasing your savings rate, maximizing your income, and investing aggressively in assets that generate long-term returns. Early retirement is not about depriving yourself. It's about designing a life where you no longer need to trade time for money. The earlier you want to retire, the more intentional and disciplined you need to be. But the reward, a life of freedom, choice, and security, is worth every sacrifice. To conclude, the 12 stages of financial independence provide a roadmap for anyone who wants to take control of their financial future. From dependency to solvency, from stability to debt freedom, from security to independence, from freedom to abundance, and finally enlightenment. The journey is both practical and deeply meaningful. Each stage teaches lessons, builds resilience, and prepares you for the ultimate goal, a life where money serves you, not the other way around. If you found value in this video, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and share it with others. Financial independence is a path worth walking, and the more people who understand it, the better. Remember, the journey is long, but every step forward is a victory. Take control of your money, take control of your choices, and build the future you deserve. Financial independence is not a dream, it's a decision, and the time to start is now.